Thanks for tuning into the Trick Talking Meat podcast this week. Again, I am your host, Brother John.
And I'm Allie.
So when are we dragging Stan in here?
Right?
If you could actually get him to come that distance and drive down here, I would be in sure. But anytime he said he'd be willing to do it, I'm in. I don't care if it's 2 a.m. on a Thursday. Let's go.
Yeah.
We'll have to kidnap him.
We'll drive him down. I'll drive him down. I don't care.
Right. There's been a
Maybe
few
he'll
people...
like to be in the Iron Man car.
Maybe, but I've known a few people that have listened to the show that told me it would not work here in this bar doing it in this format, and they're like, "No, it's actually pretty good." I'm trying.
Casual. We keep it casual.
Yeah.
Right, and there's not any kind of content subject matter.
No.
Yeah.
We've recorded like 3 episodes today in the course of like 2 hours.
Yep.
So what's the problem at Disney? Why are we not catching? Why is nothing taking hold? Like, why haven't we gotten into Obi-Wan season 3?
Why are you not making a hot Sauron?
Hot Sauron. That sounds like a bar
So
drink,
what you're saying is,
I'll take a
Star
hot
Wars
Sauron.
needs to do a hot Palpatine.
No, please no.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be
Hot
soon.
Sheev. That's
Sometime sooner or later, you're going to get a young Palpatine, and he's going to be some
Probably.
sexy Jude Law looking fucking guy.
what I was thinking. The kid from Acolyte.
Was going to end up being Palpatine?
Yeah.
Was that before him, or?
It was before
It was
him.
before, yeah. It's Golden Age.
But like
of,
the expanse
Jedi.
of time, it's like, okay, well, if he if we carry over the whole thing about he knows how to transfer his consciousness into another body,
Yeah.
well, yeah, that explains why he looks different than there, and yeah.
But we haven't gone into that yet, have we?
Somebody
in
in control
shows.
at LucasArts and Disney needs
No,
to.
we have.
I think that's the biggest problem. One is they need to have established timeline orders.
Yeah.
Because, look, I didn't even know what the hell you were just talking about. I mean, I'm sure I watched the show, but now, and you get somebody like my father who's in his 70s. He's like, I don't get it. Where's Darth Vader? Well, Darth Vader was 100 years from now. Well, what time is this? Well, this is 100 years before he showed up. Like, I don't get it. Why would they do that? I don't know, Dad. This is what they're going
It's
with.
called lore. You need to get the lore.
But Star Trek handled it a hell of a lot better. But
Yeah.
they've got movies and they've got 40 years of TV shows.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, all we have to do is slap them in this uniform, and you know exactly what time period.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Kirk era.
Exactly.
It's like Strange New Worlds. We went back to the red, yellow, and blue shirts. Okay, this is Captain Kirk era Star Trek. Gotcha.
Well, it's the same thing they could do with like the High Republic stuff. Okay, we've got a bunch of Jedis in Jedi robes.
Sure.
That's a good marker, but yeah, it's when you try and cram in plot points from the newer stuff, it's like, okay,
there was a Strange New Worlds episode where Pike from the future showed up, and he was trying to talk to his old self, and he's wearing the movie uniforms from the 80s. I was like, oh fuck yeah, okay, so now you know exactly where you're at in the timeline of things.
Yeah.
Has this happened? Has this not happened?
Yeah, I think what they're missing is they need to just hire some of these Star Trek writers.
They need to hire more nerds like us that'll come in and
I think
Terry Metalis.
I think the creative pool is too small.
Right.
Yeah.
Is the problem. They've got
they're
just
narrowing in
Favreau
too
or
much
just
on
Filoni.
particular. Yeah.
Well,
And it's like get a group.
Well, that was the only show in Hollywood back in the 90s, and still has to this day, that took submission scripts from fans. And Next Gen was the start of that.
Yeah.
They would literally, if you were a waiter at a restaurant and Rick Berman was sitting there, you could hand him a script, and if he liked it, you got gilded in. You know?
Now they don't even read them. They're
you can't take anything unsolicited from an agent.
Yep.
So that, I think, kind of helped the stew of Star Trek over the years, is all these random...
Yeah, the openness.
The guy who came up with Moriarty is a professor down here at UAB.
Nice.
Like, Stan had him at his shop a couple of times,
Nice.
Or he knows him from somehow or another. Obviously, probably buying comics, but
Stan knows everybody.
Stan does know everybody. He knows more people than me, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I don't say I knew everybody. Everybody apparently knows me. I try and pretend like I know everybody.
Yeah. I just can't remember people's names anymore.
Same thing as like Doctor Who deals with.
Yeah, I mean,
anytime there's something new,
but at least there's
a
device in Doctor Who.
And over time, the attitude changes.
Right, I'm sure that everybody hated David Tennant, I guess, when he turned up, but now he's like beloved.
He's like
Eccleston. People didn't like Eccleston. Now people love Eccleston.
Right.
Well, because Eccleston doesn't give a fuck about anything, and so that has endeared
He's like, I don't care. I got paid. Who cares?
that's endeared him to a lot of people.
But Star Trek is such a weird bird. Like, and look at what the tension when Next Gen came around. Like, how dare you recast, not use Kirk and Spock and McCoy? It's like, well, it's an entire federation of ships. Like, there were other crews out there doing other stuff.
Yeah. And it's not like they could live forever.
Where Star Trek to me has failed for years.
Kind of could, but
is they've never done a show about Klingons. Like, that just seems like it'd be a gold mine. Like,
that's some of my favorite episodes of Next Gen.
Yeah, when Riker went over and became a Klingon officer, or vice versa. His Worf's brother showed up on the exchange program on the Enterprise. Why do we not have a show where it's just like one guy on a Klingon ship rolling around the galaxy with them?
Yeah. I'd watch it.
But it's got to be not Next Gen era. It can't be those like weird Milky Way purple body pierced shitty Klingons from Discovery. It's got to be like the OG Worf Klingon. With the bird of prey and all the nonsense, all the bells and whistles, the turtle shell, so to speak. I don't. And again, it's another problem with Discovery. It's like you had some costume designer or some makeup artist came in, saw 50 years of Star Trek, and be like, "Oh, I can do this better. We're going to update the Klingons. Look." And it literally, that, again, Discovery, garbage fire. And then by the end of the last season, they're back to the old Klingons again. Although it was just a different sect of Klingon and their race of...
Subset of Klingons.
Yeah, subset.
Well, they did the same thing when Tuvok was on Voyager. Oh, Black Vulcan, that's bullshit. Why would a black... I'm like, you don't think there's other races of Vulcan on the planet? Like, different areas of the planet?
Right.
Come on, man. Give me a break.
That
worked. Like, but what they did with the Klingon was just so far out in right field. It's like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
I'm gonna redesign the bat lift. No, you're not. No, you're not. This is an icon. It's like that'd be like change a lightsaber in Star Wars. Now we don't have lightsabers. We have light whips.
We do.
Well, that is a thing.
That is a thing. I'm sure sooner or later there's gonna be a lightsaber whip at some point. Was it Darth Revan that had the lightsaber that it can make longer and shorter?
I can't remember.
No, his was just like he had two.
Yeah,
no, I can't remember
he was one of the first ones who was a double.
There was a guy in one of the books. I can't remember his name, but
his book it may have been that way.
It was like it was Shadows of the Empire. Like Prince Zizor had one or something, but he could hit a switch and it would be like a normal lightsaber length. But if he hit it, it could extend like another 2 feet and go back to normal.
Yeah,
like,
trying to think. Yeah, Shizor did have one of those.
Well, because supposedly Vader's lightsaber was like that.
Right, like he could extend it out as like a cheap shot move,
or to be more intimidating. Oh, my lightsaber's bigger than yours.
The quote unquote science behind the lightsabers, though, is that any lightsaber can do that. It's just a matter of tweaking the emitter matrix.
Well, that's
I just showed
that's what the Doomsday weapon in the Star Wars sequel trilogy was.
Yeah,
the planet.
Yeah,
it was shooting a lightsaber beam.
Yeah,
because they were trying to collect up all the kyber crystals in the galaxy to power this thing. Well, how many
well,
shots
because there were only 2 places where you could find a kyber crystal, and that was one of them.
And the planet was one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, but again, it's like even Stephen Colbert. I think on one episode of the show, somebody was calling him out on what's his name's like cross saber.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Darth.
But it works.
Darth Crybaby, whatever. Kylo Ren. Character sucked. What a whine. It was like if an emo Sith master. But no, he was saying if you had a crystal on the hilt and the crystals could just split the beam 2 different ways,
I mean, it is all about the cut.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
I liked Kylo Ren's lightsaber. I thought it was badass.
Oh, yeah. That sound. Oh my god. That growl.
And he hadn't been properly trained how to build one, so it wasn't like perfect, which made sense. And
well, because
everything about Kylo Ren should have worked, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
His is more like a jagged view of the blade. Like if you see the difference between them, Kylo Ren's has got like this like mean-looking aura, and it's supposedly because he didn't know how to build them, and so his emitter matrix does not focus his kyber crystal.
It's also that the crystal, his crystal got damaged when he bled it.
Yeah.
Right.
So it like was producing more energy or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it needed vents.
Well, he didn't bleed it out because I mean that's how Ahsoka got hers. She was totally devoid of. Turned hers white.
Yep.
But then if you get the games, you got to go into the caves. And if you want a red one, you got to find a red crystal, or you got to find a purple crystal,
or beat the game and then replay it.
Yeah.
I want to drink. That was one of the things about Shadows of the Old Republic that was awesome, because if you were, the more evil you got, your physical appearance would change. Even on the title screen, it was kind of cool.
BioWare was always good with that early on.
Yeah.
They kind of changed that as their games went on. Well, no, because Mass Effect did that too.
Yeah.
Depending on where you went, if you went Renegade or
in the second one, your
scars, your cybernetics
or whatever.
Your cybernetics became different, in different colors too. Yeah.
It's the same thing in the House of the Mouse. Like, what's the problem with all the new Star Wars content? Is it too much? I think it's too much.
I think
they're trying to milk the cash cow.
I think it's a combo of too much and not being. They want to do something new, but they don't want to commit to doing something new.
Yeah.
The big failing of what was that show? Acolyte.
Acolyte, yeah.
It tried to do something new, but then in the midst of doing something new, they're like, "Oh, hey, remember all this old shit?"
Well, the same thing happened with the new trilogy too.
It's like, no,
which
don't
sucks.
Do that.
Now
Just
we won't see like the second part of it, because we had Pelagus come out in that one.
Darth Plagueis.
Yeah. Well, there was never confirmation that that's who it was, so they could do something else if they wanted to.
I was kind of shocked when they had Admiral Thrawn show up on.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah. I was like, but again, it's the same thing. We'll never get any closure or anything with it. But they're saying they're lining him up for a movie or something.
Yeah.
Was just trying to get his intro out of the way.
Yeah.
Again, and the biggest thing, it's like when I go to a Walmart and I buy toys, regularly. I go to Walmart and I see the big 4-foot section of Star Wars shit. And there's like X-Wing pilot Luke, and there might be a Han Solo or Leia or something. And then there's 50 characters that I have no fucking clue who these people are. And I've watched all the shows, and I like, oh, that was his name? Okay, I kind of... Especially with the latest one, with the little kids.
Oh yeah, Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew.
That show was terrible.
No, I loved it. I thought it was very much like Goonies in space. I loved that, and because I'm huge on Goonies, I love Goonies. I will watch that movie at any point. I heard about that. I'm kind of worried.
They're making a sequel to Labyrinth right now. That made me groan. Again,
that one's been in the works for like a long time.
It'd be Timothy Chalamet as the new
please
fucking...
Please, for the love of God,
it's him or Skarsgård that are just in everything.
I don't mind Skarsgård, but please not Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, God,
I can't
Henson family,
stand him.
if anyone hears this, please, God, no.
He's got a little rat face.
But that's probably who they'll end up with. We need somebody who can sing and who's super popular and in with the young people.
No,
I'm having a Ted 2 moment.
You know who I'd pick for that role if I was going to do it? Daniel Radcliffe is the Goblin King, or some version of that. I could see him pulling that off, and it would make sense. He's just enough nerd culture.
He is so talented, and I don't think people give him enough credit for how talented he is.
Swiss Army Man just makes me love him as an actor. I mean, Harry Potter was great and everything, but...
Well,
he played a dead corpse for an entire movie, and he was absolutely brilliant in this.
I still need to watch that one.
Guns Amiibo is another great movie that you should check out with Daniel Radcliffe, because that's something totally out in right field.
Woman in Black, because I like those types of horror movies. He was in that, and it was so different from Harry Potter, and it was when he was right off of Harry Potter too. So it was.
If you're gonna do Labyrinth, it needs to be like Return to Oz, where it's some evil acid trip version. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. It's on Disney Plus. And I couldn't believe it. Like, I watched it the other night. And I was like, holy shit, they put this on here?
Well, supposedly
they're literally trying to lobotomize Bazooka Bulk in the first 15 minutes of the movie. They're giving her electroshock therapy. Yeah. I'm like, this movie is like hardcore. Like,
well, I mean, you think about it. Yeah, Labyrinth. You could do something like that.
You could do somebody else in
the Goblin King got basically screwed over by a teenage girl. So now there's a power vacuum in the Labyrinth.
Sure.
Well, it's like supposedly, like the rumors over the years have been that it is a prequel. So you get you
how
find
did he
out
become the Labyrinth King?
How he became.
They did end up doing that as a graphic novel series.
They did, but that could also be that's not canon thing.
You could say what you love about Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. But he had it right when he redid the Jumanji movies. These cannot be...
Yeah, that was pretty good.
It can't be a prequel. It can't be a reimagining. It's a sequel to the Robin Williams property, because we're not going to shit on his legacy. And the same thing applies to Bowie. If you're going to do it, you better come up with some kind of really good.
Move it forward.
Yeah.
Have it be its own thing, but have it pay respect
You
to the
could
previous
almost get Jennifer Connelly to come back and do
I'm
it again
sure
as
you
an older
could.
adult. Like, okay, now her
Shit,
daughter
maybe-
has found a way into the
Yeah.
damn labyrinth.
Shit.
Or
You
shit,
could get
maybe she took
Toby.
over.
You
Yeah.
can get Toby Froud.
Well, he mostly does.
He
Like,
does
special
he
effects
does
stuff.
special
He's-
effects.
If
Yes.
you went
he's
the
a-
but
he's
I
a
mean,
Muppeteer.
if you wanted like
But yeah,
him to
yeah.
just show up just
Yeah.
for a second, you
Convince
could
him to
have
be in
Toby,
front of the camera.
and it's the actual
If
Toby.
I was writing Labyrinth, I would have Jennifer Connelly back, and she would be the Goblin Queen.
Yeah, there
And
you go.
life and having to be an adult has driven her to this
I believe it.
lifestyle, and she's totally lost her mind and kind of withdrawn into this realm. And her daughter has to go in there and find her and bring her out of it.
Yes,
That life is
let's
still
do
worth-
American McGee's Labyrinth.
That-
Seriously, like, no, I mean, if you think about it, it's like, I'm going to save my mom because life is such a hard pain in the ass
Yeah.
that
even
she's
kind
given
of-
up.
That even kind of plays into the original drafts
Yeah.
of the first one.
That would
Because
be
there
my
was
story.
supposed to be a whole like extra thing, like her mom, who we never see.
Right. You always
we
off
never see
camera
her
yelling
birth
at her.
mom.
Yeah.
Well, no,
yeah.
'cause it's
we
her
see a
stepmom.
picture.
Right.
We see a picture of her birth mom. We
Yeah.
don't know anything about her, but in like
There's
the
also a
original
copy.
drafts of the
There's also
script,
a copy of Judge Dredd on her bookshelf, which is fucking awesome.
I'll have to
Nice.
pay attention for that.
Yeah,
I
go
missed
back
that.
and watch.
right?
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
watched
There's
that
a little.
movie how many times
Yeah.
since I was 5?
And I want to say it's a graphic novel of Judge Dredd up on her bookshelf.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. But yeah, like the Goblin King was supposed to be like the guy that her mom ran off with.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Like in a
Yeah.
extra
Yeah.
stuff that was cut from the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
It turns out like he was the embodiment of what that guy was.
Yeah. And like that was the original draft, and they were like, oh well, no, let's keep the magical element. He wanted her mom. Well,
And
then
Conley's
something
He
character-
happens to
couldn't
her
get
mom,
his
and now
mom,
he
so
wants
now
her.
he wants her.
And
Yeah.
Conley's
She looks
character-
just like her
Yeah.
mom, so
You know, didn't even choose to be a particularly evil person. It's just, again, life beat her down so
Yeah.
badly
Yeah.
that she is withdrawn into this other
Yeah.
world and she doesn't want to come out.
I
And
don't
doesn't
blame
even
her.
isn't even aware that she's inherently evil at that point.
Yeah.
Just and daughter comes to save the day, and that'd be killer. And you got a female empowerment character.
I mean,
in there.
she brought war to the Goblin City. Okay, they were living perfectly fine and happy.
for her bullshit.
Their magic
you know,
freaking dance,
For
and
all
she
we know-
comes in.
you know that the goblins captured Ludo, had him hanging up there. They were biting at him. For all we know, he was eating goblins.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know the story. We just know the perspective.
We already know Hoggle's an asshole, so
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
He's in the baggage
killing
claim up in
fairies
Huntsville.
with gas.
Yeah.
And,
no, he,
I went and
he
saw it.
was.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
What was really
It's
rad
kinda
too
horrifying.
is they offered to give it back to the Henson Company.
they
They
didn't-
told
they
them, "No,
said
you
no."
keep it. It's fair,
Yeah.
fair and square." But
We
they
left
actually
it.
even paid like $200,000 to restore it. They were
really.
like, the story is when the airport tried to give it back to the Jim Henson Company. They were like,
Mm-hmm.
"We don't want it back because again, fair's fair, but at least let us restore it to where it won't be destroyed and lost."
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they actually repaired it and sent it back to them, and it's on
That's
display up
awesome.
there. It's killer.
that was sweet.
Yeah.
No,
Things you find in
they're
baggage
really good
claim.
people.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah,
They had a museum over in Atlanta for a while there, Jim
Yeah,
Henson
they did.
Museum.
Yeah.
they
It was
did.
pretty cool. They had a Fraggle Rock display. They had,
Yeah, I wanted
Sesame
to
Street,
go.
everything.
I wanted to go so bad, but
when I was a kid,
we
I wanted a
hate going
dozer so
into-
bad I couldn't stand it.
Oh, my
Oh
God,
yeah,
yes.
right.
I still would love to have a dozer. If I had one, though, I'd be building the
little
little
one.
acrylic bridges and shit for them. Just
I
to
always
have-
tried to eat Connects.
That's what I can. That's
explains
what I
everything.
can crochet next.
You could
dozer?
crochet a dozer.
Crochet a
Yeah.
dozer.
That'd be
That'd
killer.
That'd be
'cause it'd like a little
adorable.
small
Yeah,
one.
just
Yeah.
a little dozer.
Little red hat and some boots, and he's all
Yeah,
set.
I just need some green and some white, and we're good.
But sadly, I don't know what these corporations. They think they've got to.
A grasp on it, and
Well, they think that they got to reinvent it, and they don't. And it's like, well, we have to make it for the younger crowd. Well, the younger crowd was watching it with their parents, so
Yeah.
they're going to remember it the same way I did, at least.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And that's when you go to Walmart and you see all the characters up on the shelf. The little kids aren't trying to get, Andor, and they're not trying to get the Acolyte figures or the
Yeah.
Skeleton Crew kids.
Yeah, they're trying to
wanting
get Luke
Han, and Leia.
Skywalker, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And you can't go on forever with the trilogy, those three characters, but you've oversaturated with so many, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what made the Star Wars toys like back in the 80s kind of special is because they did make everybody, but now they're going out of their way to make characters just to make money, and that's the difference. It's just nobody's invested in any of these people.
See, I mean, for us, it was like we became Star Wars fan. Well, I mean, we've always been, but like to the height of it for us was like during the extended universe stuff. So we were reading books with all of these different characters.
Well, because we didn't have anything new.
Yeah, we didn't have.
And that's what made it. But that's what made it special.
The Ewok adventures. That was
that's
the
what we
new
had.
stuff for us.
That's what we had.
And that's the problem though, because it's you're trying to make Ponda Baba is special to everybody because he's only in the screen for 5 seconds. 15 seconds. He gets his arm cut off by Obi-Wan, and they move on. But now they're trying to manufacture those characters. There's nothing really particularly special about them. They were just on screen. So here's a toy.
IG-88. He was. I mean,
IG-88
was just there, and
it was literally like PVC pipes painted. And it's like now we've got to come with this backstory and.
Yep.
That's the one thing I do love about Favreau. He's taking all these shitty characters that had like 5 seconds of screen time and making them cool.
Yeah.
And I saw an interview with him. He said, when he was growing up, his brother got Han, Luke, and Leia, and he was getting like Gamorrean Guard and Jawa, all these like Forlom, the Cloud City pilot. It's those. So he's like, when he started making those shows, he's like, I'm gonna make those guys cool. Like they were the cool ones in the toy box.
I'd kill to see a bounty hunter series that like just follows like Forlom or IG-88 or Zuckuss. I would love to see Zuckuss.
If I was going
Zuckuss,
Labyrinth, if it was up to me and I was going to write a Star Wars TV show, it'd be set on Cloud City. Life on the Cloud City. You could do Lando. You get Crispin Glover. What was it? Not Crispin Glover. Danny Glover to come in and Crispin Glover.
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover. Yeah. I'd get him to have a prequel series about him just running the city. Just the amount you could totally turn it into Deep Space Nine, where it's just the way station where everybody's coming and going.
And I'm sure Donald Glover would come back. I mean, from what I understand, he
only...
loved wearing the capes.
Dude, he was the coolest thing about Han Solo. That movie sucked, but he was awesome.
The ending with Maul was pretty cool too. So
but it's a cheap pop. That
I
cheap bullshit
was so
pop.
excited, and the mention of Teräs Käsi, the fact that she used Teräs Käsi is a big thing. Which, I mean, like, I'm, for some reason, just obsessed with the concept of this Star Wars martial art, and it just came from a stupid fighting video game
for the PlayStation. That everyone shit on when it came out.
Everyone hated it.
I loved it.
Yeah, no, it was
that
great.
From Johto Cast, like the bounty hunter fighting game? Was that?
No, it was Star Wars Masters of Teräs Käsi.
Yeah, I remember that. Like it was like a Mortal Kombat clone.
Yeah.
I remember Johto Cast was in that game too, which was the fake Boba Fett.
Yeah.
He had the orange armor.
Yeah, and the Tusken Raider named Hor.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, who came up with that?
HOR. Yep.
HOAR. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hor.
But like if it was me and I was Disney and you wanted to save money, like they're spending tens of millions of dollars building sets and props and wardrobe and all this stuff. They need a bottle show like a Deep Space Nine, where like make a Cloud City, man. That way you've got one set. You've got people coming and going. You can venture out with or stay on the station, but you can do bottle episodes. Why are they not cost effectively doing this?
Because it's
honestly,
and if it was me, and if I had that show and I was running it, you could introduce these new characters like Andor or the whoever, and it's like if it catches heat, fine, make a show with them later.
I mean, you can even
backwards.
You can even go for a full win, in my opinion. You do a Revan series like Knights of the Old Republic.
And Revan's I think they was rumoring that they are bringing Revan out.
You build the ship. Half the filming takes place on the ship.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Like they need a Bespin Cloud City where they could just have a way station.
Yeah. And you have the flavor of the week planet you go to.
Then then you get
Southern
cameos.
California or Northern California.
You're using Cloud City as an updated version. Okay, fine. Yeah. Now Din Djarin from The Mandalorian shows up with Grogu, in an episode, and then flies away, and that's your episode.
Yeah.
Like Thomas Riker on Deep Space Nine showed up for one episode. That's what I think. That would be the biggest moneymaker, I think. And that way you don't have to keep spending money. And we might actually get a second season of some of the stuff that we did like.
Yeah. I actually liked Acolyte a lot. And I'm kind of disappointed
one
we're
that I
not
thought-
getting the second season.
The one that I thought that I was kind of ashamed of because I didn't watch it at first was Andor. I think that out of all of and Obi-Wan, from what I understand, they're
Obi-Wan
getting another
was great.
season of that too. So
I hope so. That one's my favorite.
Ewan McGregor's lobbying fairly hard for that one, and the fact that they haven't done anything with Sam Jackson and Mace Windu is kind of crazy
Sam's
to me.
I love that killer concept
Yeah,
of him just coming back and just
full on Sith Lord, like pissed now that all of his
Well, I mean,
been
it's
betrayed.
it's how Maul
the cuffs are off,
survived.
kinda.
Was he was just so angry that he survived. So I mean, you could do the same with Mace Windu.
And it
You
could be
know,
a
have
Mace
dumbass
Windu should
kids
be like-
betrayed me, and I got thrown out a window. I'm gonna kill these.
And that would be his redemption story: is
Yeah.
letting it go and becoming and finding his way to the Force again. Like, and Sam Jackson could pull it off. It had to be better than that fucking Shield show he did. Man, that thing was crap. Nick
Yeah,
Fury TV show. Again, just quantity over quality.
yeah.
They just keep churning this stuff out and churning
Yep.
this stuff. Well, it's like I said, Mark Hamill said it best. You know, if people didn't want to eat, drink, and sleep Star Wars, they wouldn't keep making this shit. You know?
Yeah.
It's just the problem is that now they've made so much shit that nobody wants to buy any of the crap for it. I mean,
Well, and
go to an Ollie's right now or a Big Lots. Well, I think they just
They've
went out of business,
overpriced them too. That's the biggest
Yeah,
thing.
and
too.
well, and
nobody
eat,
wants
sleep,
to buy them
and
at that.
drinking, living Star Wars was also $2,000 a night.
but yeah,
Yeah,
at the hotel.
yeah. That would have been awesome.
But you go in
Damn
there and you
shame.
see, you go to.
Yeah.
But yeah, is the nostalgia factor there though? Are kids watching Obi-Wan Kenobi and or Anakin or any of these shows or these Acolyte shows in 25 years from now? Are they going to feel nostalgic about Skeleton Crew? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we won't know. Like that's the only time can tell.
Or will
really.
Skeleton Crew be the next Ewok adventure?
Yeah.
Right?
Right. You don't know. I mean, is that why the original trilogy still holds up? Because our parents watched it and then we watched it with them and now our kids watched it with us and they're going to watch it with their kids. But are they going to do that with Skeleton Crew or Picard season 2?
Yeah.
Hard to say.
That's true. That's true.
These are the ponderances of nerddom.
Yes.
Yep.
What will stick? What's going to stick to the wall? When I'm 75, 80 years old on my deathbed, is anybody going to give a shit about Data? Yeah. Will anybody be wanting a, Storm Shadow figure from the 86 G.I. Joe toy line? It's what's going to stick? And that's kind of crazy now.
Ninjas are always cool.
I do a lot of these conventions, and I'm going to these vendor booths, and it is like Pokemon vintage stuff and vintage Power Rangers and vintage Beetleborg and all these shows. And I'm like, this was after my time. But I'm familiar. I know what it is because I worked in toy stores. But I'm like, are people really hunting this stuff down now? And they are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So is my vintage stuff going to just fade away into obscurity, or is it going to?
I mean,
It's the circle of life continuing on without us.
I have friends who they buy every single new like Pokemon plush that comes out because they're rolling them out even now. But I'm pretty sure that they've got like a collection of the old stuff, or they've been looking for the old stuff too. So, but it's like, I don't know, like there's just something about
There's something about
fandom.
vintage.
Fandom that like makes you want to like
Support it and make.
from
It's
the
a double-edged
beginning,
sword,
from the
yes.
beginning and more.
Because we had no Star Wars movies for years.
Yeah.
And then we start getting toys, and the toys sold, so they're like, oh, they must want more Star Wars movies. So they made more movies, they made new toys, but we didn't want any of that shit.
Yeah.
It's a weird bird, man. Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
like my wife, for example, she went last summer, we were in Walmart, and she saw Strawberry Shortcake on the shelf. She's like, oh, that's cool. I didn't have these when I was a kid. I always wanted one. I had like one or two of the obscure characters, but my family, we couldn't afford it. And so she bought herself one. She brought it home. She opened the box, and she was like, well, this sucks. The doll is crap. It doesn't smell like strawberries. It doesn't, you know. So literally, like last Christmas, I scoured the internet and cons for a year, and I bought her an entire collection of in-box Strawberry Shortcake shit.
That's so sweet.
But again, in 20 years, when they revamp it and relaunch it for the umpteen millionth time, is anybody going to care about those, man? Those are OG ones in the box.
Well,
is the fandom going to be strong?
They have revamped and re-released and remade,
How many times, though, man? Strawberry Shortcake has been revamped and re-released and redesigned for
The next
years
gen.
now.
I just saw Furbies were back, like a next generation version of the Furby, and I'm sure the
then they
technology is
have-
even better, but it doesn't look like the old Furby, so I don't like it.
My
I'll wait for the
Furby-
one that comes out in 10 years that will actually try to kill me.
Sure.
My
The
my
AI
Furby,
Furby.
my
The AI
Furby
Furby.
has like this like lazy eye, and I
Do
don't
you have
know
an OG
what.
Furby?
I have an OG Furby.
Take a pair of scissors and cut the hair off. Just
No.
cut it. No. Oh my god, it's the creepiest thing you've ever seen without any
I've
hair.
had this thing since I was
Like,
like,
because the eyes
11.
and stuff are still moving, and it's like this weird, like, AI killer robot looking thing
That-
with a beak.
That and he's got like this like lazy eye that's like halfway closed, so he looks like he's stoned.
I still have my Jedi Yoda Furby.
I
It
have
was
that
like a
too.
little Yoda
yeah,
Furby.
the one where he teaches you.
Yeah, it didn't work for
Lightsaber?
shit, but
Yeah,
it was
no,
still...
it really didn't. But yeah, I have him too.
Yeah.
Great
Yep.
concept, bad execution.
But
Yeah.
yeah, we used to skin them at KB Toys when the people would bring them back, return. We'd cut the hair off of them, put them back in their boxes, and then mail them back. And there was just you leave the battery, so it'd still be sitting there talking. Sometimes we'd put them back on the shelf just to hurt fucking parents out. This is why KB Toys doesn't exist anymore. It's because dickheads like me and my friends.
I always wanted the Gizmo
It's a
one.
bunch of potheads running a toy store for kids, and it's I had the Gizmo one. I think I gave it to my
want-
sister
I
though.
wanted that one, but I never got it. That was when my mom was like, kind of like, you're older, so it's a toy. Why are you wanting a toy? I'm like, because I want it. So no one ever got me it.
Again, though, I'm not into Cabbage Patch Kids, but I saw a guy with a boxed OG Cabbage
I
Patch
have
Kid
my
last
original.
year
I have
at a
my
con, and he
original.
only
My
wanted like
dad's.
$50 for it. And I was like, well, that's kind of cool, just because I remember seeing those in stores back in the early '80s when I was a little kid. But does it have any actual
He's seen
value?
my original.
But it was in the box still. That's what it was never played
Yeah.
with. It's
Yeah.
obviously some grandparent bought it, threw it in the attic, and they died, and they found it, and now he's just trying to get
Yeah.
rid of it. But so is it? I do find that I'm collecting less now that I'm getting older.
Yeah.
I mean, I figured I'm almost 50. I got like another solid 20 years.
I'm just broke, so I don't have anything really new.
That's kind of my thing too. Is I'm getting older. I'm like, would I rather go to the beach or see,
yeah.
London, or do you want to buy another $1,000 worth of GI Joes this year? And it's a struggle.
Yeah.
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 And I did liquidate a lot of my collection over the last 2 years. It's like, if I keep all this stuff, I'm going to keep buying it.
Yeah.
It's like the Fight Club thing where your possessions end up owning you.
Yeah. We just don't have the room anymore, so it's like trying to free up room, and it's like, it's sad to see them go, but if somebody else can enjoy them more than, us, and them being in like a tub in the attic or in the garage or whatever.
I go on Facebook Marketplace though, and I'll see some dude like, I have a Star Trek collection, $200 for everything, and it's a whole room of stuff. I'm like, it's so tempting just to go like, I could get in the truck and go buy that right now. But 90% of it's going to sit in like Rubbermaid tubs in my garage, and there's no point.
See, we're having trouble, I think, with yours, huh?
What?
Selling yours. Have you not listed it yet?
No, I just haven't listed anything yet.
Star Trek shit?
Yeah, he's got all
I
of
thought-
the all of the.
I brought you, I think.
You did bring
lot
me a
of my
bunch of
Star
the
Trek
figures,
stuff,
and a lot of them
Yeah.
went upstairs. They're
Yeah.
up there in the shelves.
Yeah, no, I knew.
You sold the bridge. You did sell
I
the
did
bridge.
sell the bridge, yeah.
And
I
you
had- I
sold
had
the
a
bridge for a really good amount.
And that's why I sold the bridge, because I also
Yeah.
still had the box.
I have the box.
Yeah.
I think mine is missing like a couple of the little pivot little things to keep the walls up or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
But
Those
I've got it.
those things were so tiny they popped
Yeah,
off all the time.
it's like
yeah.
the flag. They had these little C clamps that keep the aircraft carrier down,
Yeah.
and they all dry rotted and broke. So most of them you get now are like 3D printed,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
10 times better than what they gave you when you
Yeah.
bought it 30 years ago. I have an original set of clips, but the one I have on display, the flag I do have put together, it's got the fake ones in there. I was like,
But I
"Oh,
think
shit."
you still have the transporter.
No, I think that was.
No,
in
Oh,
the,
that
in
was the
there.
one that he gave.
Yeah, because I have two of them now.
Yeah. Well then, yeah.
Because I have two on each side of the room now, so I can beam one
Nice.
guy to the other side of the room.
Nice.
I put the same data in both
That's
of them,
awesome.
so I can transport them. When I walk by to turn the lights off, I'll beam them back in.
That's awesome.
That's great.
And I used to, when I was a teenager, and I had that toy, you'd put it in the back of that thing. It's just a little smoke and mirrors thing, like
Yeah.
Burger King toy type shit. But
Yeah. But I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, you're enjoying it. You're and that's what's important to me, 'cause, and yeah, like a lot of my stuff is in a box.
And I don't take anything. I don't leave anything in a box anymore. It all
Yeah.
gets opened. I don't care. Because the minute I leave it in the box, it'll get sold somewhere down the road.
There are a few that I leave in the box. Like I've got Nightmare Before Christmas Monster High dolls, and the box is gorgeous, so I'm not getting them out of the box. I like them in the box. But that, and I left another one in the box, and I got what, $350 for her.
Yeah.
I regret selling her though.
The only thing I kept in the box is I have the Batman animated series stuff. The newer stuff that's coming out right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have that shit's way expensive now. But I mean, they're basically the same toy. But I just like having them in the package. It was like, you know.
We have a Batmobile somewhere.
We do.
Yeah, we still got it.
Yep.
So.
I bought that big ass one from Target. The
giant one.
Yeah, I saw the
Batwing is sitting out in the garage. I haven't gotten that out of the box yet either. That thing's massive. I bought one and I opened it and I tried to hang it from my ceiling and just, nope. Thing is a beast. I mean, that thing was like huge, man. And I had like 3 hooks for it and the fishing line, and that thing after about 2 minutes just went beep and fell down and broke the tail off of it. And I had to end up taking it back to Walmart or Target.
Cool.
I haven't bothered to open the second one up because now that I know how big the damn thing is, I'm like, where are you going to set this thing in the meantime?
Damn.
If it ain't going to go on the ceiling, obviously, because it's too heavy.
Yeah.
You'd have to find like the beams. You'd have to get the right kind of mounts.
Right. I mean, the thing is a tank. I mean, it's huge. And that goes back to what you were saying about the stuff's gotten too expensive, too. Because I'm like, for example, like that thing was $150 retail, which is about right because it's a big toy. That's a big jet. I mean, two 6-inch figures can fit in this fucking thing. And it's got lights and landing gear and the whole thing. But then you go to like Hasbro, and they're trying to sell me a G.I. Joe Cobra Rattler, 1/6 scale Rattler, but theirs is $400, and it's not any smaller than this guy. So, are you fucking stiffing me for nostalgia? Is what this is, or am I getting played? And I think I think that we are, man, because there's no way you're gonna sit there and tell me that this Cobra Rattler cost you $400. They're giving you 4 figures with it. That ought to tell you right there that it's not that expensive to make this thing.
Yeah. Well, it's I mean, you know, you've got Barbie, like what they call budget line Barbies. You know, the
$4.99 single thin cylinder
but at the same time, they're like $10, $15.
But and they're saying it's the accessories that are costing the doll.
Yeah,
to go up.
Like if you get the bigger boxes and stuff like that.
Or if it's licensed where it's a Star Trek Barbie. Okay, well now we had to pay Paramount money and the Gene Roddenberry money and all these people money to license Star Trek to make a Barbie doll out of it. Yeah. I get that too. That
but it's
brings
like,
the Barbie up to $50.
Monster High and Barbie, you know, it's like you're paying at least $30 for a doll. That's where it's like, for me, it's like, oh,
well, look at wrestling figures now. They have the $9.99 basic figure with nothing. You know, it's just, you know, Seth Rollins in his ring gear or whatever. Yeah. Then you can get the elite version where he's got his entrance jacket and the hat and sunglasses and all that. And then you get the ultimate version that's like superposable. And he's got a ton of accessories, a belt and a jacket and a boa and all this stuff. Yeah. Whatever. You get Ric Flair, you know, ultimate Ric Flair. He's got like the really fancy ring robe that you... So it's tailoring to like, well, how much money do you got? Well, if you only got $10, you could still get Ric Flair, but you ain't gonna get the cool Ric Flair.
Yeah, but it's like,
and it's smart. I mean, why wouldn't you? You know, I mean, it's tiered, and we're buying it.
Tiered systems.
But then, I mean, you hit FOMO, you hit fear of missing out.
But I mean, if I had a little kid though, like, and, you know, he's 4 years old and he wants Ric Flair, I'm not going to give him a $30 Ric Flair. They're cashing in on my nostalgia on that one, because the little kid don't care about the robe. He might, but I mean, he's going to put the fucking figure in the ring no matter what.
He might think the sunglasses are cool, but yeah.
So I mean, are these companies
throwing the figure around?
Is nostalgia just, you know, they're trying to exploit us for nostalgia? Absolutely, they are. They know we've all grown up, and they know we could pay 10 times what they were. I mean, what was a Star Wars figure in the 80s? Like $1.50, $2. You know, same thing with the G.I. Joe. Now G.I. Joe, if they do a 4-inch figure, it's $30-$40 minimum.
Yeah. I was about to say at least 20.
Yep.
And then they started doing the 1/6 scale stuff, like the 6-inch figures, because they were like, oh, well, it's cheaper in the factory to, you know, tool this stuff because they don't have to fine paint all this stuff. Well, okay, so why did the price go up double?
Yeah.
And that's the backfire, because now you are making skeleton crew figures, but there's no nostalgia behind it. Nobody remembers it fondly from their childhood, but they're still wanting $30, and that's why there's an ocean of garbage just sitting in Ollie's right now.
Yeah.
Where they're coming into, literally, I'm sure the deal with like Ollie's and some of these companies are coming into Hasbro or Disney and saying like, listen, we'll pay you for the weight of the pallet of whatever that toy is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like with Skeleton Crew, for example. I saw the Lego set for the ship.
Sure.
And it comes with little minifigs, but it's minifigs of the kids and
Jude Law's character.
Jude Law's character, but not the droid.
Right.
It's like, but the droid lives on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to get this other ship, this other set to get.
No, they didn't make him.
No, well, that's stupid. Well, you know, that,
like, what the hell?
Well, that's probably because Lego didn't know what the show was. I mean, I'm sure, you know, when I did Guardians 2, I saw Ravager sets for Legos, but it never actually happened. But I'm thinking they're planning that stuff probably a year out, and they're only getting production stills of like, here's a picture of the ship, here's a menagerie of a few of the characters.
Yeah.
Because they don't want stuff to leak out or get spoiled either. So, and I'm sure to develop a Lego set ship that's 5,000 pieces, it takes some time to get some engineer to figure out.
Yeah.
Well, they definitely wouldn't have been able to work out how to make 2 ships in one. Here's a ship inside a ship.
Like the Prometheus. Yeah. The Star Trek ship on Voyager, there was a triple vector attack ship that was separated into 3 smaller ships, and you could gang up on a Borg cube.
Nice.
It was like the predecessor to the Defiant in one of the episodes. Like, we have this multi-vector attack craft now that has 3 separate ships with 3 separate engineering. But you combine them up like Voltron, and it's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. We will see you next time.
And next week, tune in where we're going to figure out just what you can do with 20 gallons of water-based lubricant. See you next week, kids.
Diddy knows.
Parties. I made it come out his nose. I am the winner.